hunting, just me, my hound, and my gun. Chasing them deer, rabbit, and squirrel, now that's my kind of fun. I like going fishing too, I'll go on any whim, looking for the big bass, the crappie, and the brim. Just give me a wide open field to walk through. Give me an ocean so deep. I want to ride the longest river in the world, or maybe climb the highest mountain peak. I like going down to the fishing hole, my buddies and me and my old cane pole. Bait them hooks and wet them lines, it's the life I love so fine. It's almost supper time, you'd think the world was mine.
And now for today's outdoor adventure, here's Archie Phillips.
Alan, I've been following along with you with my underwater camera from Hypertech there. And this is some kind of new territory to me. What are we doing here now?
All right, he dropped the anchor on this dive site called the Deep Can. And the anchor's a little off right there, and I'm having to pick it up, and I'm going to carry it over to the dive site and hook it into the wreck, so we will have a boat to go back up to.
Yeah, now who are we with here now, right?
All right, we're diving with Ronnie McFall, and right out of Panama City.
Alan, this is very critical what you're doing right here. A lot of folks may not think so, but if that anchor ain't set, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Absolutely. If the anchor is not hooked and you get diving around there and forget about it, the anchor may drag off and you get ready to go up, there's no boat there.
Now, let's tell these folks what this thing is. Back in 1969, there's a big naval experimental place out from Panama City, and they was trying to figure out how to technically lift a large object. And this big old piece of thing, some people said it was an environmental habitat the Navy used and all, but according to our information, it was just a big old round heavy object that they would sink and use big pontoons and lifting devices to figure out how to lift it. And if I was a guessing person, I'd say it was more to figure out how to retrieve submarines and that kind of stuff. When you
right, that's what it looks like.
Just,
yeah.
You know, any old, maybe a small ship or even a large ship. But I know one thing, it's a good place for fish, ain't it?
We know that, inside and out of it.
And we're talking about the depth, Alan. I think we've got it down there. It was somewhere around about 120, 25 feet down in there.
Right, somewhere in that general, yeah.
Now, the Amberjacks have just covered it up, didn't they? Oh, that's a good, look at that. That's almost a graveyard shot right there. Look at just a little twitch in his tail back. Look at him other than falling.
That's the way we want to shoot them, Archie.
Shoot, yeah. Now, Amberjacks is one of, well, I guess one of the top fish to spear in the Gulf area, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
And
that's a good one.
Yeah, well, now when they get up about 50 pounds or so, if you don't dead kill them, you got problems, ain't you?
Yeah, they'll drag you off. You need to get a good headshot on one or don't take it. You never want to take a body shot on a big amberjack. He'll drag you off.
Yeah, and if you're deeper, if you're like in an oil rig dive, he'll crash you through. And we will tell these folks your safe level of diving is 130 feet. That's where it's red line.
Right.
And the books tell you don't exceed it. In fact, 130 foot is an arbitrary figure because some people could get in trouble at 100 foot. And some could probably go on down and dive at 200 foot.
Right. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different, and so these folks that do all this figuring on these charts, they know what they're talking about, so you better pay attention to them. Now, Alan, we wear our wetsuits down there to try to keep from getting all scarred up, beat up, and banged up and all, but I noticed you got on a shorty there, but this is summertime, ain't it?
Right, this is still the hot part of the summer, and I was just a little uncomfortable with a full suit on, even though we do need it.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna wear mine fully because I'm tired of getting scratched up bad. Fire coral and stuff around down in wrecks will just get you infected. We're using gloves too. Tell them why we're using gloves now. You used to not use them either, did you?
No, I didn't used to use them, but it tears your hands up on these large fish, and it's easier to cock the gun and taking the spear shafts out, and you just don't get your hands cut up.
Up in them gills, it's awful rough anyway. Now this would be a dive that we would want to say this would be for an experienced diver or your deep water dive. This is not an amateur dive. And when you talk about down at 110, 12, 20 foot, you're on the outer edge out there.
Ronnie's done snuck off and got a little lobster for us.
Yeah, tell us about that kind of lobster.
That's a shovel-nosed lobster, and that's a pretty good size one there.
Yeah, Where do you get
this deep can, we have pulled probably 15 off this wreck in the last 2 or 3 dives.
Yeah, and are they as good as the other kind?
They're just as good, they're just not as large.
Just not as large. All right, now, Alan, there's certain kinds of guns that are effective in this big fish kind of spearing, and you want to go over that with us?
Yeah, I don't use anything but the JBLs. I like the JBL 450 Magnum. It's the largest gun made, and with the 3 rubbers, with 100 pounds of thrust per rubber and a detachable head, you can shoot fish, up to 100 pounds easy.
And you really, people might think it's never speared a fish. You can just aim at a fish out there and shoot him, but what's your average distance before you'll pull that trigger, Alan?
10 foot is, that's a long shot. You like them a little closer if you can, but 10 foot is about an average shot.
In other words, but if you can get him at 4, it's better, ain't
It's a lot better because you can almost kill it that way.
Yeah, and we're talking about you want enough torque to put that shaft slap through that fish and in a vital spot, don't
Right,
you?
if you don't, he's going to pull off.
Yeah. Now, Alan, with the compressors pumping more and more air, we can put, 3,500 pound in these tanks now?
Right, we've got more air than we can use.
And this 100 cubic feet tanks, we've got way more than we've got legal bottom time. I see you just nailed
We've got
another
air
one.
left over, so we can really take our time, and we can do line time and decompress and really play it on the safety.
Now we always carry our dive computer with us. That's a relatively new innovation, and I'm just tickled. There it is, hanging on your belt right there.
Right,
Alan.
I like that little Oracle computer. It's nice.
And tell them how that thing works, Alan.
That keeps up with all of our time. It tells us how long we've been down and how long we've got left on each dive, and it'll do our top side time also and tell us when we could go down for the next dive. It just does all the thinking for us.
I tell you what I found out with it. They got a little red light on this thing, and I was taught years ago, well, you have time with that one.
That one's fighting.
Yeah, that to follow your least bubble up.
Right.
Most everybody goes up too fast, and there's, from experience, that nitrogen will get in your blood and it'll do you in one day.
Right.
Tell them how long you stayed in that decompression chamber from staying down too long.
108 hours.
108 hours, and there's a little red light though that blinks if you go up too fast.
It says ceiling alarm, and it'll just make you slow down.
And you watch that thing going up. If it comes on, you stop dead in your tracks and let your time frame catch up with you coming on up, don't you?
Right, you just have to go real slow.
And you want to be careful when you're balanced with your BC on the bottom. As you approach the top, you got to let some air out. Otherwise, you'll keep going up faster and faster
Right,
and
it
faster.
expands on the way up, Archie, so you've got to let a little out when you get toward the top.
Toward what, 30 or 40 feet up, something
Right,
like that?
yeah.
Okay, and that BC control keeps your buoyancy just right, and you can ease back up. You won't be going too fast. You'll be dead on the money. Now, Alan, I've noticed you keep that big old bag there with you all the time, and I see you checking your computer out now.
Right, I keep an eye on that computer and that air gauge.
Yeah. Now, there's different people uses different amounts of air, and that's got a lot to do with your body weight and your physical condition. Now,
And also what you're doing down there.
Oh yeah, way especially what you're doing there.
I use a lot more air than you because I'm exerting it spearfishing and you're filming.
Yeah, and all I'm doing is just sitting there watching him and making sure I get that camera where it's supposed to go. But this part right here, Alan, we need to go over about going up this rope business. Tell us the procedure step by step to make sure that you don't overdo this thing.
Now, on the going up, we just go real slow, and I watch my computer also on that, and it's got the ceiling alarm and tell us if we need to slow down. But we are going up real slow.
Now, according to that computer, on most of the dives we made, we didn't go down there to where we had to do any decompression, right? Is
No,
that what
we
that
didn't
does?
have any decompression dives, no.
But we've been told by a lot of our people that are more knowledgeable than us, I guess, that somewhere about 10 foot up there, you need to, even if you're safe, spend a little time. I think that's
Right.
what you're doing right there, isn't it, Alan?
Right, we're going to hold off and let that nitrogen leave us.
And how long you need to hang on that rope there, Alan?
5 minutes at least.
Yeah,
5 to 10 minutes is a good time.
And we're gonna have, when we get close to the top, we're gonna have plenty of air anyway.
Oh yeah, we've got the air to do it, so we might as well go for the safety.
Yeah, and we got our fish. That one you just decided not to bag him up because we were heading on to the top. The last one, you always bag the last one, you just go ahead and
Not
carry
every
him.
time. Sometimes I just bring him up.
Just bring him on up, huh? And looks like we had a pretty good day there. I guess we got that one on up. This will be our next dive on down. And we're anchored in good. And of course, if you don't have an anchor rope, there's another way to do it, is just to buoy down. And of course, that's for advanced divers now. Your boatman's got to know his people and just drop your buoy and you go down the buoy rope and you come back up at the buoy rope so the man knows where you're at. But this is the back end of the can here, Alan. This is an exciting place, isn't it?
Right. I think we may go inside it now.
Now that light you got, is it just a good underwater light? Does it do you a good job?
Yeah, it's a good light. It's a decor, I think, and we need it on these dark areas inside these structures.
Now, is this where you're gonna hunt them lobsters and them shovel nosers?
Yeah, we're mostly looking for lobsters inside it now. Yeah.
Well, that's a big old piece of something. I don't know what they had to lift that thing with, but I think it weighed 180 tons, is according to the records. That's heavy.
Huge.
Yeah. I know one thing. It's a good fish place, isn't it?
We like it.
Now, these structures that are put out there, they really do a lot of good because when you got just bare sand, there's nothing gonna come up there and get around there. But you put something out there, a wreck,
everything comes to
everything.
these. Yeah.
And the amberjacks, when you got a big something like this, those amberjacks just come to it just like crazy. And you can troll over it too. You can take your trolling boats.
Looks like we're in a cave now.
Oh yeah, this is still just part of it. Now, Alan, and you generally always carry your light when you on a wreck dive, don't you?
Yeah, on a wreck dive, I always carry it. If I'm reef diving or just out in like a rig, we don't need it.
Yeah, because there's nothing to look under it.
Right.
Have you ever found a great big old fish laying back up under these places?
Sure, lots of times. The grouper and the snapper love to go back under holes and hide.
Well, what are you doing right there now?
Looking down in a hole for something.
You got to get your gun loose before you do it. I think you spotted something down there.
There's something in there. Yeah, I'm trying to get you over to it.
Now, Alan, sometimes in a wreck, you need a big gun, and sometimes you need a smaller one. And of course, JBL makes smaller guns, but you never know which one you're gonna need, do you?
No, sometimes we carry two guns with us. There's
Yeah.
a snapper back in that hole is what I'm trying to show you.
You ain't gonna shoot him right that tight
No,
up in there either.
he's got the wrong angle on him.
Uh-huh.
He keeps laying down on its side.
I see. But that's the way you find them in these tight places. Just put your light right on there.
They'll lay down on their side and crawl in a hole.
Is that right? And they can get in a little tight groove like that, and then come back somewhere else on there, and you'll never know where they're at.
Right.
Now we're checking our computer, our Orca computer there. But that's the slickest thing. Like when it comes in there and you got 3 minutes, you need to be checking your air, seeing where you're at, see if you got a fish on there.
We couldn't make it without that.
Well, another thing too, Alan, is that you get in there and get excited in a mess of fish, and you go
forget
shoot
about what
fish.
you're doing.
You
Yeah.
forget about what you're doing, and without looking at that computer, you're gonna get yourself in a world of hurt, both with air and with your getting the bends from staying down there too long. And there's amberjacks everywhere right
There's
there.
a school of them. We just fell in the middle of them here, Archie.
Yeah, this is another dive off of Panama City, Florida. There's the top of it, the Leroy dive site.
Right. There's not much of it left. It's just barely sticking up.
And it's been out there a long time. The Leroy goes way, but look at that amberjack coming across the top
Right.
of that thing.
I think this is an 1800 ship.
Yeah, about I think it was 1887 when that thing was built.
Right.
And
I just shot an amberjack.
uh-oh, look at there. Now, we got to tell folks this too, Alan. The water conditions have a lot to do with your visibility, and you can go out there, like today it's a little stained out there. It's not really that good. And I don't
We've
think
got about 30-foot visibility today is all. That's unusual.
yeah, because it's you got the Mississippi River over there, and depending on which way the wind's blowing.
I think a lot of this is off that hurricane too. It hadn't really cleared up from that hurricane.
Yeah, they've that hurricane will. I tell you what it will do though. It'll bring a lot of fish in there too that otherwise wouldn't be in there. And You got
Trying to get the handhold on this amberjack.
Yeah, there you go. And that Leroy was a steamer, and I believe it went down in the 20s, sometime in the 20s, and it was just a gorgeous old sight, and it's got a lot of fish. It always has had a lot of fish. It's not a lot of people go out there though.
I don't think it's dove much, but it's got a lot of amberjack on it.
Yeah. And any structure that comes off the water, as a general rule, is going to bring in amberjack. And as you folks can see, if you look around those wrecks when we were diving around there, you will see that there's just a tremendous amount of bait fish, and that's what brings them in there. And it's just a paradise. That's what it amounts to.
Yeah, it's beautiful down there.
And this old ship, it's got a, I guess it was a schooner at one time too, and it had a regular old steam engine in it, and we're gonna show y'all pieces of there. You can see it. There's that monofilament line all over it. That's the one you thumped, and then he run off down there and then dropped dead.
Right, he died under us. We got to go pick him up.
Right, and the things about it, there's you can see the incrustation on the old boiler right there, and we ain't got too bad a current there. Alan,
No, the current's not bad. It's just the visibility's not real good.
Yeah, and of course I like 150-foot visibility, but we're not gonna get that.
We'll settle for 30 today.
That's right. That's right. And
look at those fishing lines. They're everywhere, Archie.
Yeah, now there again, you've got to get your knife there.
Don't go down without a knife.
And I had one. You remember that one dive we made, Alan? Look at that gorgeous snapper.
That's a good snapper.
That is a good snapper. You know, I never saw that fish. He must have just come darting out in front of you. But those things, the nice thing about snappers on these wrecks and all, we're having more and more of the government agencies realizing the importance of putting out all kinds of wrecks and debris. We've got bridge rubble up at Destin. We've got over on the Alabama coast, we've got box cars, sunken dry docks. A lot
Even the
more
oil rigs are helping us.
Oh yeah, look at that gorgeous Queen Angel right there. Yeah, the oil rigs have just been just an absolute boon to the Alabama and Louisiana, Mississippi coast. And look at the line. See him? You done got some line on him right there. Look at that.
They just have to swim through it.
Yeah. And these wrecks, when they're placed out there and placed properly, it's gorgeous. Checking that computer once again and seeing where we're at. That's pretty deep dive there too, Adam.
Yeah, this one's over 100 feet, so we have to watch our bottom time.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that school of amberjack.
What were they in the 20, 30-pound category, Alan?
Yeah, maybe a little lighter. There's not any real big ones, but it's a good school of fish, though.
Yeah. We want to tell the folks too, when you get down at these depths, sometimes you got a little sinus trouble or something like that. Your ears don't clear like they ought to. Be sure you get those ears cleared before you get them. Boy, you got all kind of
Have you ever seen
choice.
so many fish?
Boy, they're just stacked in there like cordwood. Alan, you notice when you shoot them sometimes, after about 2 times, after you shot about 2,
They get gun shy.
they vanish. Where they go, reckon?
I don't know. They leave.
But that's.
I think I'm getting ready to take another one.
Yeah, that's now you're trying to get just as tight in as you can get. Did you fire at one then? Yeah, you
Yep.
got him. Yeah. That was kind of above and over. Is that the best way
That's
to
not
take
a good shot, no.
That's
You want it broadside if you can get it and shoot him right in the head.
Yeah. That downward shot, a lot of times it don't take much to miss him there.
Right.
You go straight for the throat there, don't you?
Yep,
And that's pretty good one right there now, Alan.
not bad.
Tell me how you like to cook those things. What's your
Ooh,
favorite way of
ooh.
doing it, Alan?
I like to marinate that in Italian dressing for 3 or 4 hours, then put it on the grill.
Just do you on the grill it now? Do you grill it with the aluminum foil? Is that
Right.
the way you do it?
Or put it in one of those little baskets where you can turn it over and over.
I see. And now I believe we're gonna carry that one on up. I see you keep referring back to your computer to make sure that your rise is okay.
Right, we're going up slow again.
Alan, that detachable head I see hanging out down there, you just couldn't take these fish without that, could you?
Oh, no, you couldn't take these fish without that big magnum gun with the detachable head. They'd just pull off. If they didn't, they would bend the shaft like a bow and arrow.
Well, I think a lot of the problems some of the new spearfishermen have is like with that big JBL gun, it's got so much power that even you can kill any size fish out there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But he'll just take that shaft and turn it into a corkscrew if that head don't come loose.
If that head don't come loose, he's going to bend the shaft.
And we have had them break that cable up there that goes to the detachable
Yeah, big
part.
one can break the cable. Yeah.
Boy, so you got to get your equipment right and know how to use it real good. Well, folks, we had a great dive right here. Now, Ronnie, tell us what we were diving on right there. I was on it, and I got some pictures of what was we on there?
You was on the Leroy.
Leroy. Now, tell me about the Leroy.
Well, Leroy was built in 1980 something and sank in
1880 something.
1880 something and sank in 1926, I think.
26. Now, we went around the boiler and all. Is that what was that?
Right. That's where you were filming, right on top of the boiler.
Right on top of the boiler. And these Amberjacks was in there like cordwood, wasn't he?
Right.
Now, Alan, I see you got another, he's a master snapper getter. Y'all see that, don't you? And there wasn't any great big Amberjacks, but these are all good size Amberjacks here. And we had one real nice snapper slip by on us, looked like about 20 pounds, wasn't it?
At least 20.
And we had some good dives. We had a good one on, what was that thing called we was on a while ago there?
Deep can.
Deep can. That was one of those Navy environmental things that they stay down on the bottom, wasn't it?
Right.
And it's usually full of fish. So we've had a great day. We've had 3 good dives out here, and we're off from Panama City. How far off are we, Ronnie?
18 miles.
18 miles. Had a good day, and we got good smooth seas here. We're gonna cut this thing loose, put them in the box, and head back to the house.
10-4.
Had a great time diving, you fellas. Enjoyed you bringing us out to your favorite spots here too, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Lane and old Alan, old buddy. Again, let's get back into it.